Good afternoon, everybody. DJ Styles. Oh, John Hickman, better known as DJ Styles. Anyway, basically, this is a Trick or Treat Studios Tots mask that I happened to pull off the shelf in Rio Grande because it was the only one in there, and I definitely wanted to grab this right away. I convert these masks. All right, and as you can see, the hair comes. It's crappy. It's not done right. It looks like crap. The mask is this particular mask has a lot more detail in it, I find. And I did pick this up. Actually, here's the tag that this was under. It's Trick or Treat Studios. That's who actually sells this mask. So I'm definitely not trying to resell this mask. This mask I'll actually give away, but you're going to pay for my artwork. That's basically what I'm going to do to this mask. And I already started doing this conversion just a few minutes ago. And I figured, why not? I'll videotape this process a little bit. I'll do segments of it. I'm not going to give all my secrets away. But I'm converting the mask. And what I'll do is I'll add more detail, which I started to here, filling in actually the cracks that are already really in the mask, but I've actually started painting with a special paint that goes into the cracks so it really pops the detail, so you can see the detail more. As you can see, like over here, well, this isn't painted yet, and it loses a lot of detail in here, so, and this isn't painted yet. There's nothing in here. I've only started working on this side. And as you can see, if I back off, you see how this pops just a little bit more. You don't want to go overboard, because if you paint if it's too detailed, it just almost looks painted on. You're just trying to fill the cracks that are really in the mask, and that's only the first step. You know, there's a lot more to this process of converting this mask. I'm pretty quick at what I do. I'll fix the hair up so it looks amazing when it's done. Also, you know, I'll add the colors that are needed. As you can see, like the highlights aren't even popping on here. It's all grayed out. It's just there's just too much going on in the mask. It doesn't have the featured highlights on the mask. I can give you for instance, like a good conversion to me. I have a picture here. You see that conversion? And look at the original. Now, this is actually from that mold that's right there. That's the same exact mask that's right here. That's a Tots mask right here. But as you can see, the artwork is done, and it brings out the real character of the mask. And I'll point it out, like in here, like you see all this different color variations and scratches and stuff that's here in this cheek. Let me just go up here. You see how much it's a lot smoother in here, you know, and the highlight and all this is popped. You know, your highlights and everything, that's all there, and the chin, right at the top of the list, the bridge of the nose. This is smoother, as you can see on this. Look how screwed up that looks. It just looks really grayish, and it's got too many things going on. There's just too many colors in general. And this here basically is an ash, they call it fish belly white color, and it's got a little blue tinge to it, believe it or not, and that's definitely not on here. This has got more of a yellow look to it, grayish yellow, and this here's got the blue, but it's also got the yellows in there and the details. Now you can do all different effects to the mask to really change the character of the mask. And I'll show you a picture of one of my conversions. This one's here's a good one too. Now that to me I think that's actually the movie mask. And you see how smooth the cheek is here? There's no scratches, none of that. You know, there's only detail in here, in through here, in through here, in through the cheek. So it gives you the dividing line. The lips are darker. You know, the shadowing is perfect. And that's why I call my conversions Shadow Man, because when I'm done with my masks, I like to kind of stick to my one version that I'm doing. And these are the movie masks. Okay, I want to copy to the movie, to the detail of the movie mask. I'm definitely going to do the hair exactly like what you see there on that mask. But let me close these. These are my prints of. Now this is actually my conversion right here. All right, that's what I do to the mask. And as you can see, I smoothed out the cheek. I popped the features, the bridge, the scowl. The chin's a little bit more, it's there where it be. And then all the details. And I'm still not quite happy with this conversion. This was my first attempt. I think I put a little bit too much dark color in here in the lines and the cracks. So what I want to do is kind of cut back a little bit on that, which I'm doing here. I'm not doing as heavy. Believe it or not, it doesn't look like it. It looks like I'm going heavy with it. I'm not. I'm going pretty laid back with this. So when I do put the other colors into the mask, like, I'll put my browns and my textures and my colors underneath the nose, and especially around the eye sockets. That is almost like a flesh color, brownish, that goes into the eye sockets. And without that, it just doesn't create the shadow effect. And as you can see, there's blood in here around this eye socket. This mask here, I took this picture under extremely bright light. So it casts natural shadows in bright light. So it gives you the illusion that you're seeing the shadows, and it's very creepy. And as the light gets darker, this particular version definitely gets creepier looking. So, and as you can see, if you look at the eyes in detail, without that shadowing there, and that's a direct look, look how it just doesn't look right without the shadowing of the eyes. So I'm squeezing the mask so it's deforming it a little bit, but you can see that it's just not really, I don't know, it just doesn't look as good. The shadowing changes the whole character of the face. And that's what's unique about the actual Myers mask from the original movie, was the shadowing that took place when they did that movie. That mask was, they used a blue light in the original 1978 version, and it was a Shatner mask. And I think I learned something about the mold process, and I think everybody's making the mistake with all these Michael Myers masks from the original Michael Myers, the 1978, prior to like 10, you go look 10 years back, that's all anybody would go by, was that movie mask, that version, that H2-1 and H2. H1 and H2 were the only two movies that they went off of. And here's the mistake, I think. The brow, right in the eye socket here, all right? This has an undercut. In other words, it kind of cuts under a little bit. And as you can see, if you look, you see how it cuts under? All right, it cuts under, and that's why the original mask actually created a lot of natural shadow, because when you splash light down on the front of this, the shadows are there naturally. And that's the one thing about the original mask, that always it had the natural shadowing. If you take the picture of this here, this is actually from the movie, and they did brown this in here. They put some brown in this area here around there to age the mask a little bit, but it creates the shadow effect. And you think that doesn't matter. It definitely gives the mask a more promising and very, very scary look. And I think that's what really freaks people out. A lot of people get into these mask makings, and you end up with like the new Trick or Treat. Now, I like the mask, but it has to be converted. It's very original. It's very true to the original. Damn it, I can't. Here's my. Hold on, let me grab a hold of this. I know I'm out of frame, so anyway, here is the new Trick or Treat Studio 1978 I can't remember what they called it. I don't have the tag anymore because I'm just going to keep this for myself. But I actually had to change the eye holes a little bit because they didn't have the eye holes exactly the way the movie was. But almost perfect. It was almost perfect. I think I took just a little bit out. Let me put this in a way so it doesn't fall. Right here, I made this dip down just a little tiny bit. I took a little bit right out of here. It created that it's hard to explain. But this mask is very close to the sculpture of the one, and it's the elongated face. And why I say that is Nick Castle had a very long face. And Nick Castle, when he wore the mask, it actually stretched the eye holes open a little bit more. And they copied that to a T. I think it's very close. The lips a little bit off, but close to my eye. It's a very close version of this mask. And all that needs to be done here is the hair has to be done right. And it's a good high quality hair. The hair is I'm telling you, I don't know, it's a mix of, it's got good hair on it. So you can really do a lot with this mask. And as far as the shadowing and stuff like that, it needs to be a little bit more worn, a little bit more grayish, bluish. There's just things that have to be done to the mask. This is almost like a pure painted white mask. There's a little bit of shadowing right in the crevices here. Hold on. This actually, you can't really tell in this camera, but in here it's not really grayish. It's actually got a very slight bluish gray tint to it here in the shadowing. All the shadowed areas, actually you can see a little bit of that right up underneath the nose. But in these areas here, there's this little bluish grayish tint to it. Up in here, that's evident. You can really see that. But it's tough to, this light doesn't do it justice. Maybe it's the camera, who knows. Anyway, but I can see it. When I look at it, I see the bluish tints that are in there. And anyway, to get back to what I'm saying, you make these masks, you convert them, and you really turn them into your own piece of art. And then I resell them, probably like $250. That's what I'm going to look for. I've seen this mask going as high as $600 on eBay. I'm trying to double my money. These masks are selling at what was it? If you buy it directly from Trick or Treat, I think it's $59.99 plus your shipping, so it brings you up to almost $70. But if you buy this mask at Spirit of Halloween, if you're lucky enough to even find one, I grabbed the only one. Now I don't know if they're going to restock that in Rio Grande, but this was the only one in there, and I grabbed it because I'm going to convert it and make more money with it. So I'm going to do the conversion, and I'm going to double my money for sure. So it's $79, and plus I got to make a profit. The material going into the mask. I'm looking at $250 for this mask when it's done. Now you have to be a dedicated, don't get me wrong, I know there's not a lot of fans out there that are that dedicated to spend that kind of money for a mask. But there are people out there like me that are heavily into this movie and heavily into the artwork of this mask. That really, I mean, they're all over the world. These people are like, it's almost like the Trekkies out there. Believe it or not, there's huge fans in this business that will go the extra mile to get the version they like. Now, if you like it, great. If you like somebody else's, great. I have no. This is going to be called the Shadow Man. That's going to be my version of this mask. I'm going to basically resell these, as the Trick or Treat conversion mask. Shadow Man. That's how it's going to be sold. Now, I don't think I'm tripping over because I'm giving the mask. The mask is not, you're paying for the artwork. So anyway, let me know what you think, and leave your comments and and I'll let you know how this one turns out. Because I don't know, this one here is going to probably be my personal one, because this mask, I had to paint in these details that really weren't on the mask, on this mask. the details are really there. They're etched into this. So I think what happens is with these masks, the more copies that go out, the more the details are lost in the original sculpture, and hopefully they have, they can reproduce this in better detail, by putting out a new sculpt from the original mold. Every once in a while they have to do that. They have to make, because I think when you pour a mask, that that mold is only good for so many pours, and then they have to recast the original mold, and then make another mold from that. So it's a constant, you're constantly redoing it. And what I have here, I believe, is the only reason I bought this is because I saw the details that were definitely in the mask, and I thought, oh my God, I got to grab that. And I got the mask and basically bought it, and it has all the details really in the mask, unlike this one. The details are painted in. Not all of them. This is all real that's in the mask. That's real. This is real in here. But when you get into here, the cheek area, like the whited, pretty smoothed out areas, the cracks are there, but they're so like worn. So it looks like it was a late pour. This was probably like on the last batch or so from the original mold. And then what they did was they had a recast. Because this mask is actually 1.5 years old. I bought that right when that movie was released. I actually ordered it way ahead of time, like 3 months, 4 months before they actually started being sent out to people. And I ordered it directly from Trick or Treat Studios. And basically what happened was, when it got to me, I thought, oh man, the details aren't really there. So I'm going to have to add them in there with the special paint that goes on latex. And doesn't crack, doesn't peel. You don't have to worry about any of that, because when I make my paints, I make my paints with a special mask paint, latex paint. So you won't have to worry about that coming off. And that's well cured now at that point. So this one here, this has all the details. I'm a keeping you, baby. That's going to be my mask when I'm done. So anyway, yeah, even all these cracks, they're really there. And it was there, but it's a little bit different here. Some of these lines in here were painted on, where this one here actually has the line in there. You can see it. It's there. You think I'm being anal about this? I am, because when it comes to the original mold and the mask, everybody, back when, I saw 1978 Halloween movie, and you could not get that mask anywhere, because that was a Shatner mask that was made in 1975. The movie came out in 78. And by the time the movie came out and got popular, the Shatner mask was no longer on the shelf. So you couldn't convert a real Shatner mask because it wasn't available at that point. So there was a lot of copycats, and really bad ones at that came out for many years. Up until 2001, you couldn't even get a close copy of that mask. And all of a sudden, and I think that was a Don Post original. The original mask was made by, this 1975 was a Don Post mask. And anyway, I'm rattling on about a lot of stuff here. I'm giving you a lot of details about it and why, and maybe at some point somebody appreciates it, but if you don't, to each his own, brother. So anyway, what am I doing here? What am I doing next? Oh yeah, I got to get back to getting some more of the detail painted in. Don't want to overdo it, because I think that mask there, just a little bit overdone, and I can fix that simply just adding a little bit more white, a grayish white color into this area, so it'll hide some of it. I'll just hide some of it. So anyway, to get back to it, got to get this details done on this, and then from there I'm going to do the hair, and after the hair, then I'm going to start popping and adding the colors that are supposed to be in this mask that aren't here in this mask. So that's my tutorial on the Michael Myers conversion, the 2018 conversion. And the reason why I really, really, really love this mask is because this mask is actually from the mold that they used in the movie in 2018. Now, I'm not a big fan of the 2018 movie. I didn't like it. I didn't like the movie at all. But boy, did they produce a banging great mask. And I'm going to tell you right now, this gives you that really creepy, creepy look. The weird thing about this mask is if I stuff this head, and I spread this face out just a little bit, this is what it looks like. It widens and it looks like this when people wear it, because this is a very small mask. This is not a very big mask. I have a pretty big head. I can fit into this mask and it looks good on me. And you don't lose any of the details, which is amazing. The thing that I found that was really cool about it is you look at it here on a mannequin head and it looks this way. I stuffed the mannequin head that's on this picture here with newspaper and stuff to make it, more fuller and the way it would look on your face, just like it does there. When it's on you, it really is creepy. And they did a hell of a job with this mask, this mold, the sculpture, should I say. And they really captured the original feel of the original first Myers and part 2. Because part 1 and part 2, they used the exact same mask. It was just older and aged. And it was sitting in a shoebox under the producer's bed. Deborah Hill had the original mask under her bed. They shot the movie in 1978. They put the mask in a shoebox. She shoved it underneath her bed. She was a heavy smoker. I don't believe none of that. I think naturally latex does yellow over time. And since they just literally hand painted this mask, I think it was just plain white spray paint, fish belly white spray paint they used. And they didn't really add the colors. The lighting gave you all the shadows. So, but they came out with, I think they shot part 2 in 1981, which is like, 3-4 years later, by the time they got done shooting. It was like almost a 4-year gap between the movies, and then the mask naturally yellowed, with time, and it wasn't taken care of. That's one of the big things. It's just, like I said, they shoved it in a shoebox and call it a day. And anyway, to get back to it, latex does naturally turn yellowish, and that's what this represents, this natural yellowing and, the brownish colors. And it's just old latex look is what that is. Anyway, I think I'm rattling way too much information for any artist out there. Well, artists are going to get me, but people, common person out there, they're not going to get a clue. As you can see the darkening of the purplish black I did with the lips on this? Well, as you can see, that's not how the lips are on here. It's it's an open slit. It's just not really detailed that well. I'm not too keen on it. But this is more like a brownish, yellowish, greenish. And that's not what this is like a blackish, purplish, brownish, and it just, I call it the Shadow Man for a reason. It's got natural shadows in natural light. And when you see this as it gets darker, it's just, oh my God, it gets really creepy. Freaks people out. I put it's on my shelf and people are like, where did you get that? Blah, 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 blah. Well, it's still a Trick or Treat Studio mask. So that's the secret, people. Get the mask from the mold, the original mold. That is what they're selling. And I think I'm going to get a crap load of these masks, and I'm going to keep a few of them for myself. I think at some point they will stop producing these masks. And I can't believe it, but I'm seeing these conversions going on eBay for $600. I saw them as high as $600. Now, it was 6 months ago. I'm sure the price came down because there's more and more people doing these conversions now. So before, there was like only a few people doing them. And one of them I'm personally friends with, and he's a hell of an artist. Nick, my man Nick. I don't want to give out his name without everybody. But if you go to my Facebook, you'll look for Nick, and you'll see a Michael Myers picture under his name. And you can go to his website. Actually, go to his website, handyboy.com. Man, that guy's awesome. Really good. He's a great artist. And I ain't him, that's for sure. I do my own style. I think we all do our own styles. So, but he produces a mask called what's it called? Wait a minute. Oh, the one I want to buy it so bad. I keep going to his site and I keep I just like, oh, I'll get it this year. I'll get it this year, and then something else happens, and there goes the funds. So, but he sells a really he sells several different masks, and I'm trying to think of the name of the mask. Come on, man, what's the matter with you? You've been watching. I go to his website almost once a month at least, and I've actually contacted him several times. And I sent him photos of this version that I did here, and he really liked it. So anyway, you go to his website, and instead of putting my idea into your head, you look at all the different masks and you tell me which one you like. All right. So have a great holiday. I know it's Labor Day week, and right now actually it is Monday, Labor Day, and I'm going to get back to work on this bad boy for myself, and then I'm going to sell this version. I'm going to sell this one that I have done. I'm going to sell that. I don't know. I might be on eBay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where I decide to go with it. But yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, you guys have a great day and a great holiday, and be safe out there.